Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Laura Skinner, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Hermence, the CEO and founder of Ubuntu. Hermence will be sharing her founding story and, of course, giving us a glimpse into their plans for future growth. So let's jump right in and welcome to Founders Future.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Laura, for asking me to be part of this podcast.
I love it. Awesome. So take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to start? And of course, what do you solve within the marketplace?
Wow. So, what inspired me to start my own company really came about me having to make a decision as to do I stay in a government job where there was uncertainty, or do I find ways to make the impact I've been making for the past 20 or plus years on my own. So I worked for a government agency where I did global health, and I traveled all over the world, training, facilitating, and coaching other public health professionals and to better, deliver services and communicate with people. And so what I found that because of changes in government administration, this was back in 2016, 17, and 18, that I realized it was just hard not feeling as though my job may be at a loss and that I couldn't continue doing the work that I love to do. And so what I do now is after I left in 2018 and I decided to start Ubuntu Speaks, otherwise known as Ubuntu. So in my consulting firm, I challenge senior and rising global leaders to really rethink and transform how they go about leading their multicultural teams. And I coach, speak, and collaborate with them to help them lead with resilience, cultural intelligence,
Love
positive
it.
intelligence, and so that they can really forge and connect with the people that they work with, and so that they can make the global transformational impact and legacy that they choose. And so that's how, that's the reason I continue to do what I'm doing. But most of it came because I saw the gaps that existed in the agencies I worked in. And a lot of times they were leadership gaps.
I absolutely love it. So talk to us about a typical customer journey then. Like walk us through what that looks like.
Yeah, a typical customer journey is really connecting with them and finding out what is it that keeps them from being their best selves. So my company is really rooted in the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is I am who I am because we all are. So it's this philosophy that really focuses on this idea of understanding that we're all connected and I am only as great as you are. So for a leader, that means that they can only be as successful as their team is. And too often times you have leaders who are hyperachiever, who have various ideas of what leadership is, but have never really taught how to lead. And then they have these multicultural teams that they really can't connect with or don't intentionally find out what is it that makes them successful, that makes them want to follow them and innovate together. And so what I do is I first meet with them, understand what their definition of leadership is, what their
Cool.
own journey has been, what gaps they see and what they seek to have. And then I really coach and mentor them through positive intelligence. So positive intelligence is really the process of getting individuals to really understand their own ability to stay positive, to be focused, and to really quiet the saboteurs that exist within them that leads them to projecting onto others or judging others in ways that are not beneficial. And so it helps them reduce the challenges. And so what usually happens is when we go through positive intelligence coaching, we identify what their saboteurs are. Then we talk about how to bring out their sage, which is the strongest, wiser part of themselves that is good not only for themselves personally, but for the people that they work with. And so as a result, their outcomes can be something, simply as reducing their stress with calm and clarity, Other times it's, improving their performance, right? Not just how they show up, but what they do in order to show up and their productivity. And also, more importantly, it strengthens the relationships that they have with the people they lead. Or, I also work with career professionals, but just how they work and then their personal relationships. Because we all know a lot of times what we do at work, we take home to the family, right? We take home as well. So, like, how is that impacting your family? And then, at the end of the day, we want to feel good wherever we are, in whatever space. We want to be seen, valued, and respected. And so that means them understanding how to create psychological safe work environments for themselves as well as their workforce, and really bring about the sense of well-being and happiness for the people that are around them, that are in their space, as well as for themselves. And so the journey goes from me identifying what their gaps are, what their needs are, going through positive intelligence with them and showing them how to create psychologically safe work environments.
I love it. And then with regards to that, is it more, and sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Is it more of a B2B approach and then they pick who they want you to work with from their business, or are you more B2C?
It's more, I would say it's more B2B, even though I've been working with larger, corporations, but most of the time it's me identifying them bringing me in and saying, okay, we have a set of professionals here that we'd love for you to work with, or we want you to work with our leadership team. And so it's me more going into and doing that.
I
Yes.
love that. Awesome. And then how do you actually go about acquiring customers? So what's your lead generation tactics to get in front of these B2B companies?
A lot of it has very much been word of mouth
Nice.
since I started, because I did do, a lot of what I'm doing now. I did when I was working with the government agencies and nonprofits and as an executive. So people know what I do and what I'm passionate about. And so oftentimes what happens is it's really on relationship based, where people have experienced what I do, they have bought into the outcomes and they are happy with my work, and then they refer me to someone else and it goes on. But I know that that's not enough to really scale and grow the kind of business I want and to make the impact that I want. And so I also do a lot of like event based. So, going to various different events, networking. I hate cold calling anyone, but and then and sometimes it's just creating those connections. So that's what I've been doing lately. And of course, using the various, social media outlets such as LinkedIn and connecting with individuals there.
For sure. I love this so much. So when you look at the two, I have two questions actually. One is on a fulfillment aspect. Obviously, you're looking to scale, grow the business, make a wider impact. Do you have any fulfillment capacity?
Um, no, not, I wouldn't say I do. I probably need to, but at this moment, no, I wouldn't say I have set up a process per se, but I wouldn't say it goes as far as to say, more of a fulfillment of such. No.
100%. And then in terms of with the acquisition piece, so getting in front of people, because we speak to people on this podcast all the time,
Right.
right? And to be honest, half of my customers say like they leverage word of mouth and network, which by the way is amazing because it reflects your ability, but also it is quicker deal cycles, quicker deal cycles, higher close rate. But what a lot of our customers say is, and people we speak to on this podcast, is that's not predictable, right? You can't predictably know how many people you're going to be speaking to then reverse engineer everything to have an actual scalable business. So is that kind of like your thought process? Well, I know you're going to events and you mentioned a little bit of cold calling, even though you hate it, but like, would you say your biggest constraint potentially is that predictability at the top of the funnel?
It is very much so. Because the thing is, I am all about connection,
I
right?
love
And
it.
building those relationships. And to a certain extent, it seems far and foreign to me when that connection hasn't already been made, right? And so it's for me, it's important that if I do have a system that like I'm the connection has been made, people see me for what I do, what I can provide, um, and then bring me in. So I am in the process because because I am at this moment, I don't have a team. And
Yeah.
my part of scaling is actually helping to, create a team eventually. I am a big believer that you bring in the people who do what they do best
Love
as
it.
part of your team and you let them do it. And
Yeah.
so I know what I'm good at. I know I'm also good at leading and allowing people to do that. So eventually I plan on scaling my team so that I can have individuals who can say, well, Hermence, we are going to help drive this aspect for you so that when you get in front of people, it is, it moves seamlessly, right? And you're able to make those connections.
For sure. Have you ever leveraged paid ads at all to try and scale?
When I first started, I did. I did with Facebook when I first started my business. And I felt like I wasn't in it wasn't putting me in front of the high paying clients, put it that way. So yes, people were, my information and my messages were being put in front of people. However, it wasn't putting me in front of the people who are willing to invest
For
in
sure.
in the work that I do. And so then that's when I decided, okay, let me see how LinkedIn works. And so I invested some money into LinkedIn. But as time has moved on, I've just relied on the connections.
For sure. And with regards to actually, I know we've spoken quite a lot about this, but the scalability of the business, is your goal to just keep growing, 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 work with as many companies as possible? Like, what's the goal?
Yeah, so my goal is to be able to grow globally, especially because I do speak several languages, and my passion,
Yes.
yes, yes. So my passion is traveling, and again, because of this cultural intelligence piece of my company, it is important for me to scale globally. I want my reach to be one that when someone hears Ubuntu speaks, they don't think US based. They think global,
Love
and
it.
that they can bring me into their company in order to address the concerns and issues that they have that relate to a global leadership, that relate to a multicultural workforce, diversity, equity, inclusion, that relate to all of those things. So
Yes,
I want
queen.
to scale to that extent. I want to scale globally. So that in the next 6 to 12 months, that is my ultimate goal.
Let's go. So, in terms of the sales process, I know that you spoke about the fact that it's just you, correct?
Yes.
So, with regards,
do, oh, I
sorry,
do, although it's just me, I do partner with other consultants to do projects as well. And so I'm part of various different consortium where we come together, bid on, let's say if we're bidding on a contract, we bid together, we share resources. So I have found a community of other entrepreneurs who are needed, and we exchange expertise and assistance.
I love it. I love it so much. So, in terms of the typical engagement, are you working with these people are you kind of just going in and fixing, or are you on long-term engagements?
I am, I, prior to this year, like last year, I had more long-term engagements. Unfortunately, this year, because a lot of my work was also with DEI here in the United States, diversity, equity, inclusion, as well as accessibility. Um, a lot of my work has shrunk in the sense that companies now are shying away from, well, first, federal and state are shying away from bringing consultants who have done DEI work in the past. Um, and then corporations are kind of on the fence as to should they keep their diversity, equity, inclusion programs? How should they pivot? So one thing that I've done is although these companies are not bringing me in at this time, or they're like, let's slow down a little bit, put a pause. they are seeking my expertise on how they should pivot, how should they communicate whatever changes they may make into for their diversity, equity, inclusion programs. So I am still giving strategic advice to some companies.
I love it so much. I just love what you're doing. I love the angle. The angle is so important. And let's not get political, but right now,
Yeah.
it's just like the best thing that you can be doing in the sense of fighting against it. So, what's the main priority right now when you look at scaling the business? Like, have you got some like top of mind things that you're really focusing on?
Yes, I know for me, I do want to create a content funnel,
Love it.
to convert LinkedIn engagements. I think that's really important. I'm also working on with a colleague. When I say colleague again, so another consultant on creating VIP days where we invite executives and leaders for intense 1 day, 2 day event where we're showing them the power of positive intelligence. We're speaking about how they can create psychological safe environments and really coaching them through the process. So I'm looking at doing, VIP days. I also plan on really increasing my speaking engagements. I want to be on stages again. One of the things that COVID did is that it really, it shut down a lot of it shut down what we could do. And for those of us who enjoyed being on stages and speaking and, running in-person workshops, that can, we ended up being online, which there's nothing wrong with doing things virtually, but I still love being in front of people, connecting and feeling people's energy and being on stage. So I want to increase that. I've done fireside chats in the past and really just like for example, using the social media platforms. So my husband has finally, he finally convinced me to do something on TikTok. He was like, that's where people are. So now I have, I call it Sage Elevation. It's where I provide like meditation, just words of advice, connected to positive intelligence for in career professionals and leaders who are either transitioning or seeking to be better leaders. And so that is on a somewhat daily basis. So my goal is to really maximize the resources that are available to be able to scale up my business. And I'm one of those individuals, I'll try anything. I'll try until I feel as though it's not working for me. And if it's
I
not
love
working for me because I'm doing it, I'm going to find someone who can help me.
I love it so much. So talk to me a little bit about who you're actually targeting when you're looking at these companies. Like, do you have, and we call it ideal customer profile. Do you have specific companies that you think would be a really good fit?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I think all companies need positive intelligence, right? But
I'm not
particularly,
commenting.
so uh, CEOs, CFOs, but I also find that middle managers are key. Too often we forget the impact that middle managers have and where they sit um, when it comes to leadership and the pressures that they have them as well, right, with the people that they lead. And so at first it was very much, the executives, the CEOs, the people on the top, right, the ones who are like ultimately making the decisions. But I find that now I want to really um, reach those middle managers.
Love
Um,
it.
yeah, those who are have to who take orders but have to find ways to translate those orders to the people that they lead and supervise.
Love it so much. And then just before we wrap, because this has been super inspiring, actually, I have two questions if you don't mind.
No problem.
What key lessons learned, key takeaways can you share with our listeners, but basically building this business?
Ooh, one of the lessons is that giving up cannot be your first option.
Yeah.
And it's easy to, when you start a business, to go out and you venture off, that's the moment where all your saboteurs are in your head, talking about you can't do this, why are you doing this? You know, you're not going to get paid. Like for me, it was like your health benefits, you're leaving your health benefits. What are you doing? So at that moment, so much is in your head, so much doubt. And as an entrepreneur, as a founder of a company, you really have to work hard at really tuning out the noise in your head and the saboteurs in your head, as well as those outside, those who are telling you that you can't do it. So when giving up cannot be an option. The second thing, or it should not be your first option. And then the second is that failure is really a stepping stone, if you allow it to be, to move on up. Because if you're able to find lessons as to why something failed or didn't work, and take that to, and bring it to, to developing something else, then you're just using it as a stepping stone. So we will all fail in some aspects of our business, but you can't see that as a failure that leads you to quitting. It has to be a failure that is seen as a stepping stone to doing more. And the last thing I would say is that whatever business or vision you have for your business, let it be one that really touches other people, that changes other people's lives. Even if it's profitable, how you introduce your business, how you market your business, it has to make people feel as though you care about them and not just your business alone. Like they have to feel as though they are invested in your business and what you do because you're invested in their lives.
100%. Oh, it's just so good what you do. That those three key takeaways are wild. Like it's just so accurate. So just before we do wrap, I'd love to understand like what's it been like for you on this journey, because you're doing something that's obviously very close to your heart, and you're doing something that's adding a lot of value to society, and you want to obviously have that global reach. So you're waking up every day with some real like passion, intense, what you want to achieve. So yeah, what's that been like? What's the journey been like for you?
It's been a roller coaster. I mean, to be honest, I literally feel like I'm on a roller coaster, and sometimes I feel like I'm just waiting to get on the roller coaster. And so it is really up and down, and it is stressful. But then there's moments where I am coaching someone and the light bulb goes off in their heads, or they shed tears of joy because there's been a breakthrough. Um, or they come back and tell me how they've reached their leadership or their career milestones. And so I cling on and hold on to those moments where my impact is being felt to keep me on that roller coaster, right? And keep me from giving up. Because reality is that for all the individuals who start their own business, right? More than the majority end up quitting after 3, 4 years because it is that tough. And so you have to proceed, you have to keep going. And the journey has been tough. You know, I started this journey, I had a two-year-old at the time, 2-year-old child who was, had a lot of needs. And it was tough. And then COVID happened. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do what I do or love to do. And we're all stuck in. But what happened is because I was doing global, my work had been in global health, I used my expertise to educate people during COVID about just public health in general. My daughter and I, my 2-year-old, 3-year-old daughter and I, we did videos on how to properly wash your hands. So like I had to find ways to continue making my impact amidst the challenges, amidst the trouble. And so it's really it's it's been rewarding in so many ways as much as it's been difficult and challenging. But how do you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in life if you don't have some of these roadblocks and then overcome them.
I
So
love
yeah.
I actually love your mentality. It's just such a good reminder of just like just to keep going and just like it's going to come good, right? So I love
Yeah.
it. So that does
Yeah.
wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Hermence for sharing her incredible journey and insights with us today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales through world-class marketing systems. We look forward to seeing you in the next